Hello, and a spooky welcome to our listeners. Today is episode 53 of Theme Park Workshop, and we are giving you our hype for Halloween Horror Nights 33. We are very excited. It is the 33rd year, 2024. We are ready for some spookiness, and it should be a good time. If you know anything about us, you know that this is the most wonderful time of the year. And joining me, because you can never go alone, are Bella Harvey
Hey everybody, let's get spooky.
and Adam Johnson.
Horror lives here. I'm Adam Johnson.
Now, Adam, I have to ask, the people want to know, are you still listening to Another Way Out?
How'd you know? Of course. The
Another
creep show all day,
way
every day.
out.
And then that's the shot. The chaser is Sticks and Stones, which was also featured in Halloween Horror Nights 31, which had the best
Ooh.
park loop. No one
Which
can
was
debate
that
that.
one? Was Sticks and
Sticks
Stones?
and stones don't bring me down. Don't
Oh,
bring me down.
yep. Yep. Maybe they'll bring back Another Way Out. That's so like HHN 31.
Yep.
Yeah.
That like whenever I hear that or think about that song, I like picture myself walking down when they still had the carnival games, leaving like Dead Man's Pier, walking down that strip to go. You know.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it's every house for me. I walked out and it's another way out.
I heard that song. It was anytime I walked out of a house, anytime I got there, anytime I feel like I only heard that song.
It was like the beginning of Lion King for me. I'd be walking, and then in the Lion King, it's Nasvanya. I was the meerkats every time Another Way Out started playing. That was before I was listening to it on the reg.
I was at annual pass holder night for Universal yesterday, and I was in line to meet Woody and Winnie Woodpecker, and they were in their little spooky Dracula and Bride of Frankenstein outfits. And the person in front of me in line was talking with her partner, and she was complaining about the music that was playing. And her partner was like, "Well, would you rather them play Another Way Out?" And she said, "Absolutely not."
Oh my god!
It's a scandal. It's an outrage.
Another way out.
Feels like I'm on the edge now.
Oh god, that song.
So good. So good.
So good.
Peak triple S tier. That's what I'm
Truly.
actually looking forward to this year at Halloween Horror Nights 33. Universal, if you're listening, if any of these houses, even if it's not Universal Monsters or any of the ones I talk about all the time, it's going to be my favorite house. Goblin's Feast, you know what to do.
It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
Welcome to the Dark Fantastic!
I'm not a monster, Jake.
I'll show you who I am and what I am!
Yeah, you love this one. It's a scream, baby. It's showtime.
I am your mother!
I hate to float.
I feel like she's not a mistake at all. Like she's better for being different.
Gender fluid. No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
Hey, Michael!
What's your favorite scary movie?
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
This episode is brought to you by our patrons, Landon Kanoki, Jonathan Edward, Jordan Buster, Greg Harvey, Joshua Gonzalez and Rachel Sprague, Jen Harvey, and Dwayne and Teresa Diker. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/themeparkworkshop if you want to support the show. You'll get bonus episodes, updates, and more. And you'll help us to talk about Horror Nights even more. And if you don't like Horror Nights, this is probably not the best episode for you to listen to. But we
Leave.
appreciate you listening anyway. Not.
I'm kidding. You can stay, I guess.
Because there's not another way out.
As I mentioned, today we are doing rankings. Pew, 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 pew. And we're pretty stoked. We're going to start with the scare zones, which there are 5 of, and then we are going to do the houses, and there are 10 of them. Before we get started with our rankings, I did want to have a little disclaimer for everyone. So, first of all, we're talking about Halloween Horror Nights, so might get a little spooky in here. We're not going to jump scare you, but we might talk about upsetting topics. um, we're not going to go into any crazy details, but I did also want to mention disclaimer number 2 is if you are someone who is going to Halloween Horror Nights or likes Halloween Horror Nights and you are like, I don't want any spoilers before I go in. I don't want to know any of the plot. I don't want to know, what the house is about. I'm not listening to the podcasts like Discover Universal's podcasts. This is probably not the episode for you right now if you're listening before the event. You can come back and listen after the event and see what we were expecting, and then you can kind of find out at the end of the season what we thought. But we're not going to go into, like, for example, I've done the Unmasking the Horror tour. I might mention how that affects my rankings, but I'm not going to go into any details about any information that's not general public knowledge. Like, I'm not going to tell you about any specific scenes or rooms or anything like that. Just general thoughts and vibes about things and maybe how it affected my list, but we won't go into like secret details or anything like that, but we will talk about plots and things that we've heard on the internet, mostly from Universal, things that they've released and things like that. So just a little disclaimer, but let's get started. So we'll get started with those scare zones. And the way we're going to do this for the zones is we're just going to do rapid fire, each of us going through our 5 through 1 and explaining why they're in that spot. And Bella, we're going to start with you.
Oh my god, no way, really? I am so ready for this moment. I have written out my thing and I have spots to rank the rest of the season. And I also made my run list. I'm so ready. Let's look at how nice this is. Anyway, scare zones. Number 5, which it really hurt me to put this here because I am excited for it. I have Demon Queens in 5, just because I feel like that is where the chainsaws are going to be if they're not roaming. That was like a good place for them last year, I think. I'm really glad they haven't been in New York. But I'm putting that at 5 just because I feel like they're gonna be there. I think I think the zone's gonna be really cool. I love the art for it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Anarcade, kind of barely, but like a little. So yeah. And then number 4, I have Swamp of the Undead. I am excited for it, and the theming that I've seen, like being there as like a day guest, is so great. But that zone always is so not as packed as like another zone can be, but I feel like since it's smaller, you get, a lot more people there, and the ground there is always wet. For some reason. And the fog really likes to stick in the air in that zone. So it makes it a little difficult for me to get through. So that's why it's there. And then at number 3, I've got Duality of Fear. I'm kind of like in the middle on that one. Obviously, it's in the middle. Because I don't really know what to expect from that one because it seems interesting, but I don't know. I'm hyped to see the twins, Sinister and Surreal. They're gonna be so cool. I can't wait. Again, it kind of was giving like it was giving me like Anarcade and like Vanity Ball, but like not really. Just like how it's like typed out. I don't know. I know it's probably not going to be like any of those two options, but like I'm just like getting those vibes and I feel crazy, but whatever. And then shockingly at number 2 I have Enter the Blumhouse because I hate that zone location because it is so congested and it sucks. It sucks so bad. But there are giant neon signs of my initials throughout that zone. So I feel like I like have to like that zone. And also I really like the idea of like an IP zone because I feel like the last one was Crypt TV, right? Um, or the zone that shall not be named. Um, but I don't know. I'm excited to see our Queen Megan again. I'm excited for some freaky stuff. Not like Freaky the movie. That sounded weird. Like Freaky the movie. Um, and what else? Oh, Black Phone. I am praying for those scare actors that will represent the Black Phone. Because I know people go feral. Um, that's really all I expect to be in that zone because that's all that was on the concept art. No, literally. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. And then number one, I have Torture Fair. I am so excited. I always love a New York scare zone, except for Seek and Destroy. We don't like Seek and Destroy. Chainsaws. Chainsaws. Um, but I don't know. I love all like the sets in there so far, like the throne and that stage, and then all those little booths that like are always there in the New York zone. Like I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but there were some funny puns. Um, so I'm quite hyped. Also, there are no set pieces out in like that front like curved zone and in Hollywood. Just a couple lighting towers. So I wonder what that's gonna look like and why there's nothing out there. Because that's the only one that's naked. Well, I guess in like the one up that ends around Minions. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling about the zones. I'm really excited. And I have a feeling this list might change, but my zone ranking, it usually doesn't change a whole lot. Unlike my houses. So we'll see.
Nice. That's a nice list. Mine actually do usually change, but not like significantly. Like a couple things will change. Like usually like I don't know. It's interesting. Great list though, Bella. Love that.
Thanks. I worked really hard on it.
All right, Adam. What
I
are
will
your zones?
I will go. So I think I'm looking forward to all these fairly the same. But there's like reservations I have about some that put it lower, and some I just have less reservations on, and that's why they're higher. So just putting that out there because I think it'll be a bit of a shock to go from Bella having Torture Fair number one and me having Torture Fair as number five. Um this is like Stranger Things all over again, Bella. I don't do it to spite you. I do it despite. um and it's just and honestly, like I've gone through what they have so far, set up in New York at studios, and I think it's very cool. I think it's a very fun zone. I don't find the New York section all that scary. I do find it always fun, barring Seek and Destroy, just because I didn't go through that one a whole ton. But Zombieland I had a lot of fun with in 29. Vamp had a ton of fun with. Sweet Revenge, obviously that was fun. But I'm not always like the most scared by them. But they do have great vibes, and this one looks to serve up a lot of those great vibes. I think for me, I know I have friends who are like, "Oh, I'm really nervous about that one," and I just don't see it. I don't see how. It just seems like it'll be like a fun, spooky time, but with the Ren Fair aesthetic and all that. But I just don't. I'm more like, yeah, cool, Torture Fair. So that's why it's my number five. But I'm sure I'm gonna have a blast. My number four is Duality of Fear. I'm, of course, looking forward to the table. I say, of course, that's not always true. I didn't like the 30 years, 30 Fear zone. I thought that was terrible. Probably one of my least favorites of all time. But I do like when they do a torture of contents, a table of contents zone because it's a great mood setter. I really liked watching the Pumpkin Lord and watching all the different characters interact across the zones and horrors of Halloween and what that did. I thought Oddfellows was a lot of fun, but there's only so much you can do in there. So while I'm really excited to meet Surreal and Sinister, our two iconic characters this year, because they don't say icons anymore. This is true. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. I'm excited to see how they set the tone for the event. I'm excited to see all the different characters in there. But I think just for me, there's only so much you can do with that, I guess. But maybe they'll blow my mind. This is actually my favorite. I know Collection of Horror jumped up, kept on jumping up, and then not down and up and down and up and down. Like Kelly's, my rankings for these zones change quite a bit. Entry the Blumhouse is my number three. I am looking forward to it because I think the properties there are great horror properties. It's the Megans, it's the Purge, it's the Black Phone, it's Freaky. There could be more. But those are the four that they've told us. I'm kind of holding out for J.K. Simmons from Whiplash showing up. That is a Blumhouse film. It is fantastic. He is one of the best movie monsters to grace the screen in the past 10 years. Come on. He should be at Horror Nights. Come on. Musical trauma. No, but just what they have, I think it's going to be fun. Walking through it without anyone in there, I can see how this one might work better than like a Shipyard, which was too cramped, or Rob Zombie, which was a nightmare to walk through the one time I did it. But I've loved zones in San Francisco. I think what's it called? Shoot, I was gonna say it's my favorite zone, or one of my favorite zones. It's
The one with the witches.
the witch one. Oh gosh.
Oh, Coven, Witches, Spirit of the Coven. Nope, that's the
Yes.
house.
No.
That's the house.
What year was
Whatever it's
this?
called. Like Origins of
Um,
Halloween, Origins of Evil.
um,
This
um,
Hold on, hold on.
31. This is Agent 31. It was
um,
uh
um,
the dark nope.
dark zone. No,
Nope.
let me try and find my ranking.
That's what
Come
I
on.
was looking
It
for.
was
Wait,
it
wait,
was
wait,
Conjure
wait.
the
Conjure the Dark.
Conjure
Whoa.
the
Dark.
Dark.
Witchy.
And
Clearly,
that
it
was
wasn't memorable.
no, it was totally memorable, just the name. Because it's a verb. Who has verbs as a
Kidding.
name? Let's be real.
Real.
No, but Conjure the Dark, which was a San Francisco zone, was one of my favorites of all time. Still is, but even if I can't remember the name, apparently. So I do hold out hope, and they've gone the extra mile to make it more accessible as a haunted zone, a scare zone. I am just nervous because people will come for these IPs, which might be why they are doing the weirdest way of announcing it and just kind of trickling that. Who knows? But those characters are fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm scared and terrified of how it's going to operate, and that's the only reason it's my number three. My number two is Demon Queens. I don't know a ton about it, and I don't see any of it, and maybe that's why I am looking most forward to it of the ones we've gone through so far. This is a iconic character, Scare Zone. It's surreal, I believe, and the designs look cool. And that's really I have to all I have to go off on. But I know Dark Zodiac did a lot of great stuff with creature design, and if this is just Hollywood's just going to be the creature design zone, I'm cool with that. I had a lot of fun with that one. I think I'll have a lot of fun with this one based on the very little that I know. And number one for me is Swamp of the Undead. Uh, Swamp Zombies? Swamp Zombies. There's a Universal Monster movie called, and I had this up so I could shout this one out, The Mummy's Curse. It's terrible, but the best part about it is Swamp Mummy. So when I'm getting more Swamp Undead, Swamp of the Undead in this case, I'm looking forward to that. I love Scarecrow over there. I've loved some zones over there too. And what they are setting up right now looks very promising for that space. And so, given the theme, given what I'm seeing, this is just my number one right now. Hopefully, they make it work. Because I honestly, Jungle of Doom was not my favorite last year, but I think that's because the Zoes were just killing last year, unlike in some years past. So I'm hoping for the best with Stomp of the Undead. This one feels like the easiest layup, though, just with the location and with the theme. That's a perfect swamp zone. But yeah, that's my scare zone hype. What about y'all? Bella, we know you. Kelly, what about
Love that for you. So, it's funny. Every time I make my zone rankings, I'm like, we're probably all going to be so similar. And then we never are, which I love that. I love that. Makes for a more interesting episode. So, my number 5 is Enter the Plumhouse. And for a couple reasons. The one reason is I'm like, this is going to be for sure a selfie zone. It's funny because you were talking about how like you don't find New York zone scary, Adam. I'm like, this zone is never usually scary for me because it's like selfie zone, and it's like they can't even jump out at me because people are too busy getting pictures. Because like the black phone guy could probably like scare the heck out of me if people weren't taking pictures of them. And I'm not saying I won't be taking pictures as well if I don't have to wait too long. I'm just saying they can't do their jobs. So it's I also don't really care that much about Freaky. I mean, I've never seen it. So I guess I should watch it before I say that.
It's so good, Kelly. I think someone throws up in But it's so I'll find
Lame.
out.
Yeah,
It's so good for it's so good. Not good for you. It's good.
it could be
It's
good
fine.
for
I'm
you. It's the
watching it on
same.
streaming.
It's the same creator as Happy Death Day, which I forgot is also in this set.
Oh, which I do love. Oh, is that in this zone too?
Mm-hmm. I forgot because I have the movies
Ooh.
sitting over there, so I can actually watch them.
That's a good one. The second one was okay, but the first one's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't give the preface that I am very excited for all five. I was saying before we started recording that I think this is one of the years that I am most excited about like a set of scare zones. Like there's not one that's like a stinker for me. Like I think this will be fun. I'm excited to like be able to see Megan and not have to like search for her and like wait for her. So that'll be cool. I just don't know how I feel about the vibes overall of this as a zone, and I feel like it's gonna get crowded and be kind of a mess, but I'm intrigued. My number 4 is Duality of Fear. I almost put this higher, but it's hard because I just like those front zones are just so interesting. I'm assuming like because it says you get to pick like a path, sort of like choosing thy fate. And I'm like, well, if you go one way, it would go right into her scare zone. But then if you go straight, it's like you have to walk all the way through minions to get to their scare zone. So I'm like, I like the concept, but I don't know how I feel about it. So unclear. I'm also concerned about like it getting like clogged, like traffic issues and things like that. So we'll have to see how that goes. But um I am excited. I think it'll be cool. I like being able to like feel like I have a choice in how I'm scared, if that makes sense. It's kind of fun. Um, so I'm interested in this one. My number 3 is Swamp of the Undead. Um, I think the swamp looks cool. Swamp and zombies in particular as like concepts are not like my go-tos or like ones that I'm usually like super hype about, but I can be. Like if it's really cool, I dig it. I feel like it's a good vibe for that zone. I think it's going to be beautiful as well, which that zone usually is. So, I'm definitely excited to see how it looks, especially at night. Although some of the makeup like might look really cool during the day too, kind of like how Dark Zodiac looked cool during the day because it was like glowy and you could see the colors, and then at night it was like hard to tell. Um, so I'm intrigued, but not like you know, it's one of those things. It's like on paper, it doesn't seem like something I'd be super excited about. But then if you've walked through the parks, listeners, the set is gorgeous. And it's one of the ones that are the most built out of the sets. So it looks pretty awesome. My number 2 is Demon Queens. Similar to what you said, Adam. It's the one that I know the least about, which maybe is why I'm so hyped. Currently, because I was in the parks today, the zone is like completely empty. So I have no idea what to expect. There's not even a stage to be had. So it's just interesting because I'm sure there will be props, but they won't be put up till later. But like, I have no idea what to expect. I have nothing to frame this on. So I like the idea of Demon Queens. I support women's rights and wrongs. So, I'm all about it. Let's go. And then, true to my love of iconic characters, number 1 is the other icon, unofficial icon zone, Torture Fair. I love New York. I love the Renaissance Fair. I think it's interesting that it's not like an old-timey zone. If you look at the like flags and stuff in the zone, it's Torture Fair 2024. So it is like a present day, like it's just a Renaissance festival, but then it has things like the Blazing Bull and like the like breaking wheel and like things that are like medieval torture devices. But it's just like a Ren fair, torture fair, modern day horrifying. Um, I think you're safe, Bella, on chainsaws. I don't think there'll be any ye old chainsaws in there, but I could be wrong. But it looks like it's gonna be a fun time, and I'm okay with it being less scary. But I think I was looking at all the sets in there, and I think they can do some really cool stuff. I'm sure they're gonna do some kind of show on this big stage, and I just think it's going to be a great time. And I feel like that'll be the one that I hang out in the most.
New York is always a good hangout zone because they have the tribute store in there. There's that whole Central Park, not Central Park, whole like Gramercy Park seating area back there. Like, the vibes are always good there.
It's also Pizza Fry Central. You
It
can go
is.
straight to Boris Schuster's private investigations window and enjoy
Mm-hmm.
your food. It's nah, yeah, the
Twisted
vibes always
Taters
great.
too.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Twisted Taters.
There's a big bar there too.
Yep,
They
Twisted
got
Tater
like
Tots.
everything. Yeah, there's like everything you need there.
There's a
Mhm.
lot of space too. It's not like super
Mm-hmm.
claustrophobic because there's even the hallway area. What is that area called where the Blues Brothers show is and like the Kit Kat
Delancey
Club?
Street.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Delancey Street. So there's like good places to kind of like escape and vibe.
Yeah,
Um,
it's chill.
but yeah.
Slay.
Well, those are the zones. Let's move on to the main event. We are going to do these how we normally do rankings. If you're new here, we do 10 through 6, 5 through 3, and 2 and 1. So we'll do the same order we did the zones in, but Bella, what's your 10 through 6 for the houses?
I feel like my 10 through 6 is either a popular opinion or an unpopular. I feel like it could go either way. But currently, my 10 is Insidious the Further. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I looked up Keyface or whatever his name is and the guy with the red face, and I'm not having it. No, no. That will, I think, be a one and done. I actually think one that is higher up on the list could also be a one and done for me, just based on how they do it. But I'm so scared for Insidious. All my friends are so excited, but I'm like, no, no. If any of them look at me, it's over. I'm done. I will be on the floor. Like, I can't. I can't. I can't. I also know nothing about Insidious, and I don't want to watch it. Because I'm so scared of them. So I'm not going to. And then my number 9 is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I simply don't care. Like in the most respectful way possible. I don't care. I haven't cared. I've only seen the original Ghostbusters, and I like. I think I've seen the other like the other like older ones. Like if there's a 2 and a 3, right?
1, 2. They rebooted it in 2016
Okay.
with the SNL women, and then the current
Oh
sequel.
my god, yeah, didn't Melissa McCarthy do it?
Yeah,
Can
2016.
we get that? But I think I've seen the second one too when I was younger. I think I saw the second one. But like I don't know. I'm excited to hear the Ghostbusters song in Horror Nights. But like respectfully, not for me. But my mind will probably be changed. I'll probably have a lot of fun in there because I feel like it's not going to be scary. And for that I am grateful. But I don't know. I hope my opinion changes. I really hope my opinion changes on that. And I think it will. And then 8, Triplets of Terror. This is another one where I'm so scared. I'm so scared for Triplets of Terror. I don't want to do it. And like just stuff like I've heard about, unmasking. I know Kelly did unmasking today. Like I'm not looking forward to it. Their little faces freak me out and their little masks. They're no. No. I feel like this year's going to be really scary. I feel it in my bones. And I don't know if I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But I don't know. I feel like it's also gonna be really cool. I've seen a couple pictures. So I don't know. I don't know. And then number 7, I have Major Sweets Candy Factory. I think this is gonna be the campy funhouse. I think, but it also could be like so scary and like so gory. I think it's gonna go one of two ways. I don't think there's gonna be a nice middle ground. I don't know. It's either gonna be Beetlejuice or like what's the scariest house that Horror Nights has ever done?
Scarecrow the Reaping in 2017, if you ask me.
Others would say Tomb of the Ancients. Others would say, like me, Graveyard Games.
Ooh,
And then there's some old
okay.
timers who would be like,
It's
it was
gonna
Run.
it's gonna be Beetlejuice or it's gonna be Graveyard Games. Like, I feel like it could go either way, and I don't know. But
Or it could be like Spirits of the Coven and be half and half. Can't be in the first half.
and then it could just get really dark
horrifying.
and like really really messed up. Spirits of the Coven, man, what the heck was that?
It was
Love
good.
it though. I loved the guy on the piano.
Yes.
I loved that, man.
Flapper
But anyway,
Witches.
it was kind of a slay. But I do love the Chucky zone. Unpopular opinion. Not zone. Chucky location. I like having a split up house, and I think it has worked the last 2 times they've done it. I think the flow for Chucky was a little weird. It was a little weird, but like it's a nice break, nice little breather for a second if there's no one out there. I don't know. I did enjoy the zone. It wasn't like my number one favorite thing in the world, but like I had fun. It was a good time. And there's no chainsaws in there. So, like, it's going to be a good time. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. And then number 6, I have Monstros, the Monsters of I spelled it wrong on here. The Monsters of Latin America. I am excited for this. But guess what? I'm scared because the Hollywood version of this last year, I almost had to turn it off. Like, I'm so scared. I'm so scared, but I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be so awesome. That's why it's like kind of right. Well, not 5 because it's not right in the middle, but like relatively, the middle. I'm mostly scared. These like bottom ones, I'm either really scared of or I don't care about. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm so excited, but like I said, I'm mostly scared. And I really hope that it's not like stinky. Like how cuz like monster, like are they animals?
One of them is like a bird person thing. Like, I think it's mostly bird, less humanoid, but I've looked up what they look like in like
I don't
folklore.
Some of them are. There's like the one you're talking about is like a vampire creature. I mean, do we want to say what the monsters are? Or do we
Yeah.
want to leave that to our okay, so we've got, of course, I decided to go to the one that the Aztec one, and I don't know that language very well. I think it's anyway. Tehuichipuchi? I
Oh,
apologize.
yes.
I apologize. But that's the vampire hag. There's La Lechuza,
Mhm.
which is an owl witch. Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
El,
I was thinking something different.
El Silbon, the whistler, which is like an old man. It looks like
Yeah.
the old man from Poltergeist 2. And La Muerte, which is the death. The
Yeah.
host, yeah.
I just pulled up a walkthrough. The room with all the pig bodies hanging. I really hope that didn't come over. I really hope that they please, Agent God, please. Because I already know about some hanging things in some other rooms in other houses, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Which houses?
Isn't there like hanging and yeah, I've seen the photos, Kelly. I've seen the photos. I am not looking forward to it.
There's a lot of Sif in that house in particular.
The amount of times I almost broke a fake nail on the Sif because it'd get caught.
And there was more that wasn't even up yet in some of the houses.
Bella's so scared she's barking.
I'm gonna scare them away.
Probably.
No, but I'm so scared for Monstros. Especially if they have those pig. I will not be happy. Not happy, Bob. Not happy. Anyway, that's my 10 through 6.
Adam, what are your 10 through 6?
You're on mute.
My 10 through 6 are as follows. And my number 10 is number 10, just on the virtue of I keep on forgetting it's at this event, which is terrible because I love lore and I love hearing the development of lore. Unfortunately, Major Sweet's Candy Factory, I keep on forgetting is happening this year until I did this list. Then I'm always thinking about it because I'm running through my list. This is the first one I hit, so I know it's coming now. But before I made this list, I'm like, what? I'm counting 9. What's the 10th one? Oh, yeah. Major Sweets Candy Factory. Like y'all, I enjoyed the zone. It wasn't my favorite zone. I had good times in it. A lot of fun times were had. Think of a lot of great scares, but with those costume characters, for me, the costume characters were the highlight. I don't think we're getting that here because it's a prequel to when the children were poisoned. This is how we poison the candy and make before we make the mutant children. So who knows what we'll actually see in here. But again, as I said before, I like the lore. I like the Fast and Furious location quite a bit. I enjoyed Chucky. I enjoyed the horrors of Blumhouse. I thought horrors of Blumhouse is probably like my top 10 or 15 houses. Really enjoyed what they've done with this place. Now to see them do an original house instead of an IP house, they're closing down the entire attraction, the Fast and Furious attraction, while Horror Nights is going on. So who knows what's going on inside that merits closing an entire. It's not a beloved attraction, but still, it's a whole attraction. Um, so I'm interested to see what goes on as I'm listing it. Like a lot of things to look forward to there, a lot of things to be hyped about. I just keep on forgetting it's happening, so it feels wrong to put it any higher. My number 9 is my number 9 because I don't forget it, but I'm not really looking forward to it in terms of like getting excited because I don't see how it's going to be all that scary based on past details, and that's Goblin's Feast. It sounds like Dueling Dragons cross Wicked Growth, which I think for some people is the perfect recipe for a house. But I was kind of mixed on Dueling Dragons, if I'm going to be honest. It wasn't. I thought the high fantasy took away from the darkness and the horror. Sometimes it got too stuck in its own weeds. It was cool. I enjoyed going through. It was one of my most run houses, but it was not like my favorite house by any means. It was kind of like the Cat in the Hat of Halloween Horror Nights, where like there's never a wait for it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy myself, but I'm not putting it in my top 10 attractions of all time myself. Um, but that's I know that as I was saying, like that's a knock on Bella, and I don't mean it to be a knock on Bella. I'm sorry. It wasn't even supposed to be a knock. It's going to be enjoyable, I'm sure, and I just didn't have that much of a connection to Wicked Growth. Honestly, if I had, I'd probably be looking forward to this more, because I only did it once at the beginning of the day. It was still daytime, and did it with Welcome to Scary and Puppet Theater, and all three I've run through like in my mind as the exact same thing. Still good, just like I cannot discern many details for you. So just because I don't have an emotional reaction, I don't think the idea of the goblins are gonna eat you. Woo! I don't find that very scary. I don't know how I can be scared by that. But I think I was singing a similar tune with Darkest Steel last year too, where it sounds like a great story, but I don't know how that can be a scary house. And it was both my favorite and the scariest house last year for me. Yes, 3 heart hands all the way. So again, like I'm gonna do Goblin's Feast. I'm gonna probably enjoy Goblin's Feast, but it's a hype list. You know what this is about. Number 8. The first IP house to appear on this list. For me, it's A Quiet Place. And listen, I'm positive about the franchise. I like the first movie. Haven't seen the second yet. Have to before probably when this goes up tomorrow, before opening weekend. So hopefully I've done that. If not, I'm gonna have a weird time at this event. But I think Quiet Place Day One is one of my favorite horror movies that have come out this year. They did something very special with the property. That said, this is not based on Day One. This is based on the first and the second with the farmhouse and everything. And I know they've talked about how hearing them talk about this, I love how passionate they are for it and making this a very effective and different and experimental house. But I listen, Spirits of the Coven started experimental, and then they made it more standard and average, and it lost a lot of the great charm for everyone else. It got better. For me, it was like a constant roller coaster once it started moving away from the experimentalism. Who knows how that will work with this one? And I just honestly have not been sold on Quiet Place as a Horror Nights property. I really wasn't looking forward to it before when it was rumored. I'm not completely sold on it yet. I think it's going to be the longest wait in the park. So we'll have fun with that. But like, I'm not knocking the concept. I think if they feel this passionately about it, they've thought through it so much. This will be ASL and everything in it. Like, it's coming from a very passionate place, and passionate places usually produce interesting art. So like, I'm not knocking it. I'm not gonna be like, I hate this house before I even go in it. But like, hype list, you know what this is about. Number 7 is basically like from here, it's like very, very close for me. And so my number 7 is one I really thought would be higher, but I think just based on like everything else, my number 7 is Triplets of Terror. I'm really interested to see what happens here. I'm really interested to see what they do with this concept. I think it's going to be gross. I think it's going to be scary. Some things that Kelly was telling us from our Masking the Horror tour. I am most definitely looking forward to this carnage that is most likely going to be inside. It's just, there's so much else I'm looking forward to. So like, yeah, I want to experience it. I want to be terrified. I want to see these original characters. Which of the Pickwick triplets did it? I don't know. And I'm going to keep on bringing that up until I can sing the whole song from Only Murders in the Building. This is not an IP house. It's not based on that. But if you've heard the song, if you've heard Steve Martin's Emmy nominated, he should be, performance from that thing, you can't not think of that song from that TV show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what terrible, terrible things they do in here. Like, it could be like Texas Chainsaw, just in vibes. And I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and I thought they did a good thing with the house. It was fun to go through for me, not for everyone on this panel, I'm sure. And lastly, my number 6 is an IP that, you know, with Bella Ghostbusters, she's kind of whatever about. For me, Insidious, I'm kind of whatever about. I think the first movie's fine. The second movie's better but problematic. The third one's pretty good. The fourth one is awful, and the fifth one is whatever. So I'm not passionate about this property. I think it has a lot of cool imagery, and it just refuses to develop it in any meaningful way. And we're on 5 movies. We're getting a 6th one next year. Just like, develop it, guys. Come on. But the way they've described it, I believe it's called Insidious the Further, and there's this red door motif in these films. Like, you go through the red door, and that's kind of like a connection between our living realm and the dark psychic further realm. And it sounds like you're going to keep going through doors, and you're going to get a feature of each of the monsters, like Keyface and the I think they call him Lipstick Face Demon, and the Hag Woman, and the Haunted Patient, and all of that. Like, they're very scary. And as soon as this announcement went out, everyone who's working on the event that I saw on Twitter said, I know you're probably not looking forward to this. You should. It is terrifying. And honestly, it set my number 6 in hype, and it might be higher once I actually do it. And that's why it is as high as it is, for not really loving the franchise. Is I did Exorcist last year, the Exorcist Believer house, and I went through it. And I'm like, this is a pretty good Insidious house. It's nothing like the Exorcist movie, Believer movie, but going through the 2 realms, and I'm like, I'm pretty scared and spooked by the dark stuff in here, by the demon stuff in here. I could see how an Insidious house would work, and now they're going to do it with Insidious the Further. So if it was effective for me with a different IP doing the same tricks this is probably going to do, I can't wait to see it in its actual context. So that's my 10 through 6. Kelly!
Love it. All right. So my number 10 is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I have never seen the new movies. I liked the original Ghostbusters house. I don't remember where it fell on my hype or my ranking list, I mean. I think it was kind of somewhere in the middle. Like, it was a fun house. It was definitely not, I don't remember getting scared at all in that house, but it was cool to see like iconic locations and things. I feel like this will be similar, and this is another year where there's not a single house on the list that I'm not excited about. I think it's a really solid year as far as on paper right now before we go. So I'm super excited about that. But it's kind of like Bella said, I'm excited to see like the iconic things. I'm sure we'll hear the music and see people that look like Finn Wolfhard and I can't think of the girl's name.
Kenna Grace.
Yes, exactly. McKenna Grace.
One of the
So,
3 girls that look like each other.
yes.
One of the
Oh,
3.
yes. There's the one. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Kiernan Shipka.
Yes. Yes. Um, but anyway, I think it's gonna be cool and fun and literally cool because it's gonna be freezing in there. So that's gonna be a great escape the heat house. I think it's gonna be a good brain break house from some of these really horrifying sounding houses on the list. Um, so it's not that I'm not excited for it, but it's just I'm not familiar with the property. This could change because I will adjust my hype list up till before I go in a house. So, I mean, it could move once I see the movie. I might like totally love it. We'll see. But right now, it's at number 10. Number 9 is Insidious for similar reasons. I've seen the first movie and that's it so far. I will hopefully watch them all before the event, but probably all of them before the event ends. I've seen pictures of the demons. They look horrifying. I think it'll be a cool house. I like that it's not just like shot for shot one of the movies or several of the movies. It's like we're making this our own unique concept based on the IP. And if they do like a really good job of that, then this could move up. If they kind of just turn it into like monster, monster, here he is again. This is a different one. It's just red in here. There's this guy. I might be like, and it could go down. There's only one spot to go down, but it could.
It's
But we'll
gonna end
see.
up as your 15th ranked house. It's gonna end up as 15.
14, 13, and 12 and 11 will just be ones that like I still hate from previous years. Um, we don't need to talk about those though. But
Unless
unless
We
Bughouse.
do.
I'm kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
That's my baby.
Oh, I'm
I
right there
only
with you.
I
Burn
only
it.
went in I only I only went in Bughouse one time,
I went
but
once, I think, too.
number 8 is A Quiet Place. If you're paying attention, I have put 3 of the 4 IP houses in a row here at the bottom. So clearly I'm excited about the originals. Now, I'll give you a slight spoiler for my number 7. It's not an IP. But yeah, number 8 is A Quiet Place. And I think my problem with A Quiet Place is that I don't trust other guests. I think that if I was going through this alone or with friends, that it would be cool. And I think it's also going to take some time for them to kind of figure out what works. Like I think it could be rough in the first few nights of the event or even few weeks maybe. I mean, it depends like, how it goes with their like triggers. But I don't know. The idea of a quiet haunted house doesn't sit right with me. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I think it'll be really, really cool and shoot up my list if it like is done super well. And I think it also could fall on my list if I just like don't vibe with it. And if I don't like it and it is the longest line, great, because then it'll eat up people. I love that. But I don't know how I feel about it. I've seen the first 2 movies. I have not seen day 1 only just because I've been busy. I do want to see it. There's cats in it, so or a cat. So like obviously I want to see it. My cat would never survive in a quiet place, but it's fine. And there won't even probably be a cat in the house cuz it's not based on that one, so what's the point? But anyway, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one. I'm glad that they're trying something new. Like Adam said, I'm super excited about the representation and the labor of love that went into this. Like that, I think is really going to be cool. But I listen to the podcast episode and stuff, and I'm like, I just don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. Number 7 is Major Sweets. Um, I just don't know what to expect. I only went through the scare zone like once or twice because that was again a year that I really just wasn't able to. I think that was the same year as Bugs. I was just only able to go once that year because of my schedule. And so I didn't fall in love with the zone. I thought it was fun. I like that they use like parade floats and stuff. But I can't imagine that's going to be a part of the house because it's like going to be the factory and and it's like a prequel. I just don't know how to feel about it. Like, I hope there's nice smells of candy. I hope there's not bad smells, but there probably will be that too. So, no, I just don't feel super strongly. I've seen the images that were at the announcement. I don't remember what that was.
I think in the United Kingdom they did a random panel. I don't know why they did this panel in the United Kingdom, but there was
Yeah.
a UK a panel that Horror Nights featured in, and they showed a lot of concept art for both Hollywood and Orlando. I think
Yeah,
that's
so
where we're
they
getting this
showed
concept art is from that event.
I was like, ew, I don't know. Not like they did a good job, but I was like, yeah, I don't know what to expect in this house. So that's why it's kind of lower half. I'm like, mm, eh. Again, it could be really cool and amazing, but I don't know how to feel about it yet. Number 6 is Triplets of Terror. And so this was one of the 3 houses that was on my unmasking tour. And if you're not familiar with that, basically it is a lights on, spoiler filled, which I will not tell those spoilers here, so don't worry. But it is a lights on, spoiler filled walkthrough of the houses. And some of the people going on that walkthrough love Horror Nights, and some of them just care about the set design, which I'm like, good for you. But obviously I am one of the super fan represents, the only one on my tour this time. And so I got to walk through this, and the tour guide even walks through what every single, or at least everyone they know of, every jump scare is expected to be. And my tour guide did say they can change and things like that. But I pretty much know what to expect in Triplets of Terror, and I don't know how to phrase this, but it's a very straightforward house, if that makes sense. Like, there were some other houses I did on the tour that they kind of explained jump scares, but they were like, we don't really know what this is going to be like. But this one was kind of like, yeah, this person jumps out at you and they're holding this, or this person jumps out and they do this. So this one was very direct. So I really know pretty much exactly what to expect with this one. And that actually made it go up a few spots on my hype list. For some reason, I was very scared of this one, and I still am, but I guess it's more of a what, like the devil you know instead of the devil you don't, I guess. I mean, it's still like unexpected, but it'll be kind of expected. um but I think the concept is more interesting than I expected. Like, I was very much like, oh, I think it's going to be like this, and it's not. It's going to be really interesting. In general, I don't know if it's my like vibe, like just murderous triplets in their older age. I'm like, all right, whatever. But you know, live it up. So it's interesting. And there's some really cool like rooms in the house that I think will be well done without spoiling anything. So I'm excited to see it in its full glory. But that's my number 6.
Interesting. I feel like we're all like relatively the same on a couple of them.
Yeah, I think there's a few that were like diametrically opposed,
Yeah.
but there is some similarity. Like what we are like feeling a kind of vibe about. I think we're kind of the same.
Our
Mm-hmm.
favorites are most likely similar
Our top
based
Yeah.
two
on.
might be the same, honestly. The way we're going right now, we'll see.
I think we might. I think we might.
We'll see.
I
Um,
don't know.
should I get
It
into
depends on if
my?
Kelly changed something, so I don't know.
Yeah. It depends on if something drastically changed. Like I think it might have.
Yeah.
Shall I get into my 5 through 3?
Yes.
Okay. So at number 5, I have Goblin's Feast. And unlike you, Adam, I loved Wicked Growth. I adore that house. I would do anything to get Wicked Growth back, as I've stated so many times. And those are the vibes I'm getting from the logo. Not the logo, the concept, whatever. Whatever the art is called. That's literally all I've seen in the house. And then we've seen the facade. Hi, Tuna. Look at that face. Look at that baby. But we've seen the facade now on the tent, and it looks so cool. It's that house. It's like a wooden cabin, whatever. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be really great.
I actually haven't seen the facade yet. I need to look at
I'll
that.
find it, or Adam's probably on it.
Somebody
It's
send
Yes,
it to me. I want
I'm
to see it.
looking at it for myself, but I can send it in our chat.
it's cool. I'm really excited. Um, I know a friend that's in it. Um, so I'm excited to see them. It'll be so fun. And then my number 4, I have the museum Deadly Exhibits. I am very excited for this house. Despite it being my number 4, I'm very excited. I will be screaming Folklore by Taylor Swift because it is the folklore exhibit. Um and just what you've said, Kelly, based on your tour today, I'm like even more excited. I don't think it would go higher on my list, but I'm very excited. I think it's a unique concept. I think it'll be cool, and I think it could also be really scary or not. So, I don't know. I said that I was getting Graveyard Games vibes from the art, and my friend called me crazy. So, I don't know. I feel like it could be really scary. I think it could be really scary. Um, and then my number 3, I have A Quiet Place. I've only seen the first one, and I'm gonna watch the second one. I loved the first one. It wasn't scary for me. I was just so I don't think I've ever been more stressed watching a movie. I was so stressed. So stressed. Oh my god. Um, I think that this is going to be so cool, and I'm so excited because I know they've mentioned um or John Murdy was talking about how in theirs they have animatronics and puppets. So I'm wondering and hoping that ours is the same way. I don't know, because we usually don't have animatronic scares in houses. I don't think, to my memory. I know they do, but I really hope we get some puppets of the Death Angels. I think that'd be so cool. I love when Horror Nights uses puppets in houses, and I don't really know where there could be puppets in any of these other ones except for maybe goblins. I don't know. I love a good puppet. Um, I think this is gonna be really scary to the point where I think I'm gonna bring noise canceling headphones, like I've told you guys. Which sounds stupid to anyone who's listening. I'm aware how stupid that sounds because it's gonna be a quiet house. But when it's gonna be loud, it will be loud, so loud, like this. Um, I am not looking forward to it because I have sensitive and dainty ears. So, and I don't like loud noises. That will literally like set me off. It will be bad. It will be bad. Um, so I might be wearing noise canceling headphones over my earplugs. I think the concept's cool. I'm so excited to see the scare actors do ASL in the house. I think that's gonna be amazing. I don't know. I've really, really high hopes for this. I think it's gonna be really, really fun and something different that we haven't had before. Hopefully. Hopefully, hopefully. And that's my 5 through 3.
Slay. I'll go on with, unless you wanted to speak to Bella's, Kelly.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, Adam, what's yours? Or something like that.
Well, right on. My number 5 is Monsteros, the monsters of Latin America. Like Bella was saying, I looked up the Hollywood video, and usually I'm not, again, there's only so much you can actually get from it from not being there and watching it on a video and you're not in there. But watching it, I'm like, ooh, this is like really, really spooky and scary what they're doing in Hollywood. And some of these aspects, I'm like, I think we could do better. I think we could do better in a soundstage. I also like cryptids. I'm not like a passionate cryptid head like some others out on the internet. I'm not like, how do I marry Mothman? I'm not like that. But nevertheless, Fiesta de Chupacabras was a fantastic house that I loved. Not very many people did, but I love that thing. Oh, you did love it, Bella. I thought you didn't. Cool. Awesome. So we all here really, oh, right. It was Kelly. I forgot. You hated that. But yes, anyway, I really enjoyed Fiesta de Chupacabras. I thought it was the scariest house that year. And I'm kind of expecting Monstros to show up. Not just because it's Latin America, but just because of like that cryptid aspect. And to kind of see how our entertainment team translates that Hollywood concept here. I think it's gonna be really, really scary. My number four is one of the ones that were diametrically opposed on me and my co-hosts. And I probably would have had it down there with y'all, except I saw the Mega Movie Parade and I did not realize the visceral reaction I have when I hear the Ghostbusters theme, because Bustin' Baby makes me feel good. Um, yeah, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I love seeing these characters. I love hearing this song. I did quite enjoy the Frozen Empire movie. And I've said before, like, I enjoy the first one. Who doesn't? And I think the second one is equal, broader, but equal. And I liked Frozen Empire quite a bit. And I remember watching it with my mom and thinking to myself, this could make a good Horror Nights house because there's a lot of ghosts featured and there's a lot of ghosts from the past who are featured as well. So if I remember right. So you do get kind of the aspects of the things you love to celebrate from that first movie and the second movie, but then it's got its own thing with the Frozen Empire with the ghost and that and the new film. And the new film, it has its problems, but it is a really fun movie. And definitely one that will have a great vibe for Horror Nights, especially as like the comedy house of the year, because nothing else is going to be the comedy house this year if I'm looking at this list right. So,
Is Slimer there?
of course,
He is.
I believe so. Yeah.
He's on the Mega Movie float. Yeah,
No,
he'll
I'm
be there.
talking about. No, I've seen
But-
Mega Movie. I'm talking
Well-
about in Frozen Empire.
But I mean, I think it's based on Frozen Empire and Mega Movie, right?
No,
No.
Is it not?
Wait, no. It has some of the people from Frozen Empire in the front.
Oh,
Yeah. Just
never mind.
Yeah. Egon Spengler's dead.
But
Who's that
Stay
one?
Puffed, Stay Puffed is there, right?
He's in the original.
The mini Stay Puffs show up in these new movies.
Oh, okay.
There's mini ones
Yeah.
in Frozen Empire.
Yeah. They
Okay,
showed up
maybe
in
that
Apple.
alone is moving it up a few.
I'm doing the Lord's work here.
All right, sorry, Insidious.
care-
I'm just kidding.
I care slightly more.
Not enough to change the spot, but more.
It's getting there. It could bump up one.
Yeah. And I also love the 2019 house. I think when I did it as my number 2 house, I think looking back, it's probably more in the middle. But I remember loving it that first time. Like Monsters was my 1, Ghostbusters was my 2, and Graveyard Games was my 3, just based on the fact it was so scary. It should be pretty high up, but also I never wanted to go through it again. Now I do.
They
Not the
need to-
point. It's the fun house. Ghostbusters. Can't wait for
They,
it.
they need to just redo the original Ghostbusters house so I could do it.
Yeah.
Because I would have eaten that house up. Ah!
Next year they just play the hits. 2019 Ghostbusters, 2018 Stranger Things, Wicked Growth
Wicked
for
Growth,
me.
Wicked Growth, Graveyard Games.
OG Slaughter Cinema,
I need a redo of Hill House and Icons.
Tomb of the Ancients. Let's just bring back the original Dungeon of Terror. Rat Lady, what's your number? Where are you at?
Darkest Deal.
Darkest. Oh yeah, Hall of Famer.
I would give anything. Anything.
Anything.
Anything.
Anything. Be quiet, or I'll make it look like a bloody accident.
Anything.
Oh, I did it too early. No.
You dead.
No. Wow. Speaking of Slaughter Cinema Hall of Famer, Slaughter Cinema 2 is my number 3. Because I'm excited to do a Slaughter Cinema. I was 1 year away. If I pulled up my big boy pants and went earlier, went in 2018, I would have done the first Slaughter Cinema, and I probably really would have enjoyed it. I don't think any soul out there dislikes that original house. So I'm excited to do a Slaughter Cinema. I'm excited to see what films they create and what fun stuff they do and not so fun stuff, I guess. That just some things we've heard. But I want to do it. I want to experience that. And if it's campy like Bugs or something like that, I'm down for it. Or weird like Yeti. Yeah, it should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to Slaughter Cinema 2. I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I'm looking forward to Monstros in that order, because that was my 3 through 5. Killer
All
Kill.
right.
Period.
Well, my number 5 is also Monstrose. I remember seeing the videos from Hollywood and being like, dang, that looks scary. Glad I'm not there, but also I wish I was there. and here we are. I think it's going to be horrifying, and I think it's going to be brilliantly done. This is one that I am nervously excited for. I think it's going to be just super spooky. Again, I love when there's a house that I really feel like the, Horror Nights creative team are like really putting their heart and soul into it. And this really feels like one of those. The podcast episode was really cool and probably my favorite of the ones that came out this year. And I just think it sounds awesome. I'm pretty excited for it, to be honest. I think that the Whistler guy is maybe my favorite of like the characters without going in it. Who knows what it'll become once I go there, but just sounds interesting and I'm curious to see how they do it. And sorry, Hollywood, I've never been to your event, but I do generally think that we do things better. So I think we could do it better. But I'm excited for that one. And my 5 and 4 are very close. Like I have flip-flopped those a couple times, including like today, right before this. So my number 4 is Goblin's Feast. That flip-flops a lot with Monstros, but I am a D&D girly. I love that kind of stuff. I think goblins are really fun. And I just think it's going to be a fun time. I hope that it's not just people shouting that they want to eat me the whole time. Like I really hope they get creative with it. Because those kind of like houses where it's just like you're on the menu, I'm like, all right.
It's like an enchanted me eat you now.
Exactly. And I'm like, all right. But if they get creative with it, I feel like the world is very interesting to me. I'm also a Wicked Growth lover. I think it was my favorite that year, but I can't remember. I'd have to look at a list. But I I think it's gonna be fun. And I hope that it is as cool as I hype it up to be. And we'll see how it goes. I think it's interesting. I saw the concept like masks for this one and they look spooky and I like them. So I don't know that I'm expecting this one to be scary, but they're definitely creepy looking, that's for sure. So that'll be cool. They're not cute like they sound in the podcast. But that was a great episode too. My number 3 is, I'm sorry for the red herring if you're watching the video. It's Slaughter Cinema 2, which has fallen.
Wow.
So Slaughter Cinema 2, also on the Three House Unmasking the Horror Tour, at least at the time I did it, which is prior to the event. This is the only house to fall on my hype list. The rest of them raised on my hype list, which is interesting. There's not much I can say without giving spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything for those who don't want to know. I still think it's going to be an amazing house. I'm still very excited about it. Do I think I'm going to love it more than the original? I do not. And I was hoping that I would. Like I was really hoping that this would be something that would be like even better. Like the remake is better than the original, and I'm like, I don't think that's going to be the case. And I don't know, there's a particular room that I'm concerned about without giving too much detail that I just don't think I'm going to enjoy at all. Which is unfortunate because there's just nothing I can do about that. So I hope everyone loves it and I hope it's great. And I do think that the other campy scenes, without giving anything at all away, are really cool. Most of them. So we'll see. There's an interesting concept, like a kind of, it's not really a theme, but there's like some like common elements going on. There's some like rooms in that house that I am like more hyped for than anything. But then there's some that I am not, whether it's that I'm not excited at all for them or I'm just like, all right. There's some really cool effects too that I'm interested to see how they'll do it. So I don't know. It's going to be campy for sure. I think that it's going to be scary too, to be honest. And I think it's going to be a great house. It's just, I don't know. I'm less hyped, unfortunately, after seeing the tour, and I think it's a me thing. I don't think that's like a common thing. I think most people are still very excited for it that have done the Unmasking the Horror tour. So anyway, for personal reasons that I will not disclose, feel free to message me if you want a spoiler about why I feel that way. But I just don't want to give spoilers for anyone who doesn't want to know things that aren't public knowledge. So yeah, I can't say too much right now. I'll talk about it later when we do our episode talking about it, but I'm the most disappointed in this one, I think. So it's still at number 3, which is really good. I mean, top 3 is exciting. If it stays there on my final list, like in the top 3, that's great, but I don't know.
Dang.
Biggest
That
plot
sucks.
twist in TPW history.
No, literally. I feel like the vibe is like switched.
I
Mhm.
know.
It's
It's up
like
there with that episode where you said Winter's Wake sucked.
I know. Yeah, well, yeah. Number 6 is still really high,
no, it's not. That's the bottom
Wow.
half.
but it's the top 2/3.
No, that doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
So
But you
sorry
know
about
what?
the vibe switch.
No,
I'm really
literally.
hype about my top 2.
No, me too. Well,
Bella, what are your top 2?
well, okay, here's the thing. I've been going back and forth about my top 2 all day and all since you told us about your tour. And what I've learned on the podcast of what is in Slaughter Cinema. Um Specifically one thing. So, currently my number 2 is Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I loved the Monsters House so much last year. It's my favorite one I've done. I've only done Brides, Legends twice, and then Unmasked a bunch. I did not like Legends. I actually hated it. I am so excited. I'm so excited for the femininomenon, the music, the sets I'm sure are going to be gorgeous. I'm so excited. I can't wait. One of my friends actually has this as his number 10. Because he thinks it's stupid.
Disown
But
him.
no. But I'm so excited. I
Is
can't
your
wait.
friend a patron?
No.
Your friend is stupid.
um and then my number 1 is Slaughter Cinema 2 for now. I have a feeling that once I encounter the thing, it will drop. Probably one point. But I don't know. I never got to experience Slaughter Cinema. So I'm excited. I'm sorry, Kelly. I feel so good.
Please don't. Here's what I'll say. And if you don't want literally any spoilers and you have listened to our episode and you know us very well, skip like 15 or 30 seconds here, okay? And I'll briefly say something. So there Bella and I, if you have listened, both have very intense phobias of different things that are unfortunately fairly common in horror. Both of them, and they're both in the house in different scenes. So this is why we have such strong thoughts, is because it's like, I don't want to be having a panic attack in a house, but everything else sounds great. So if you don't have those phobias, you won't have a problem, and you probably don't, because phobias are stupid and irrational, and I hate having one. So that's why we feel so strongly about this. And I won't say what they are, but if you know us, you probably know what they are, especially if you listen to our other horror episodes.
Yeah, you can figure it out pretty easily. Yeah. So I'm
I feel
cautiously
you.
excited, but I'm also really excited because I've always wanted to do a Slaughter Cinema house. Finally getting some of the stuff that like got me like excited about Horror Nights when I was like watching Tim Tracker. When I was watching Tim Tracker videos over and over again. That was one of the ones that I just like loved. So I don't know. I have a really cool picture idea with the facade though in my mind. Because I bought a pack of 3D glasses because I've heard whispers about certain things and elements. So I did buy something and I do have a fun picture idea. So I'm excited to do that. That's the main thing. I'm so excited. But also not.
And I do think that I can say without spoiling that if you're excited for a Slaughter Cinema house, this house is going to deliver. It has so much of the camp and fun of the original, but it's different. So it's going to be cool. And I'm so excited for everyone to experience. I hope they still have the same narrator. I
There's a
did not
narrator?
well, I guess it's not a narrator. It's not narration throughout. It's like they announced in the original, they
Oh,
announced the movie
yes.
title and then they did like a little
Mm-hmm.
tagline. But it was a great voice and like I assume that person is still doing like acting and stuff. So be cool if they brought that back. There was no insight on that on the tour. They were like, and I was like, oh, okay. So but that was one of my favorite parts is like the little introduction and the little tagline. So I think that would be cool. But anyway, if you're excited about a Slaughter Cinema house, I definitely think this house will deliver.
I'm excited. I wish I got to experience the one that's in your background because that room looks incredible.
It was. There were a bunch of little guys.
I can see the little guys. They're so cute.
Fun.
There's one in the window. Who's that canine American in the window?
I prefer the term canine American.
Canine American.
What are you quoting?
Cat in the Hat.
He's a cat.
Who's that cat? When the dog gets out and then Lawrence has a dog and it's Cat dressed as a hippie and he's like, "Can I have my dog? Here's your large pen that requires 2 hands." And then he's like, "Who's that canine American in the window?"
Because the cat's like, I
Doesn't
prefer
like
not
the
to use the
term
D word.
dog.
Don't use dog. For the term canine American.
I need to rewatch this movie.
It's
Yes, you
high
do. It's on
art.
Netflix.
Yeah, I think it is high art because I think you need to be under the influence to watch it.
I've
And it makes
never-
it better. It makes it so much better.
Right now, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. If I ever took drugs, could be a perfect film. Mulholland Drive who? Cat in the Hat.
See, it's always been a perfect film to me,
That's fair.
but it makes it better. Not that I condone the use of. I don't
Substances.
consume any. I don't do anything.
No.
Maybe that's why maybe I'll start. Just for that movie. I'm just
Who's
kidding.
that
For,
canine American in the window?
for legal reasons, all of this is a joke. We're
Everything.
talking about a pack
We're
of
just
Smarties.
joshing.
Okay. Adam,
Yeah.
your top 2.
My number 2, I think, will be scary, even sober. And that is the Museum Deadly Exhibits. This feels classic Halloween Horror Nights. This is the scary, from what I can tell from it, I think it's going to be the scary thrill my heart has been chasing since being scared out of its wits in graveyard games, because I never really got to enjoy that. Because I was too scared to enjoy that. And so like now I'm like, okay, 2024 me would love that. Where's that feeling last year? Darkest Steel. This year it feels like the Tomb of the Ancients, like kind of like with that history feel and that all of those things. I feel like if there's any house that's going to have the creepy like catacomb feeling, it's going to be this one, even though it's like exhibits. Like, I mean, The Mummy takes place in museums, are crying out loud, from 1932. So I don't know much about it, but I am excited to be scared speechless with this one. I'm expecting great things from the museum Deadly Exhibits. And to your point, Bella, that logo does look like Graveyard Games. I don't know where your friend is coming from with that. That's all I'm going to say about that because I don't know the whole conversation.
Is this the same friend? Oh, okay.
I honestly don't remember who,
Mm,
but whoever it was did not agree.
heard. But yeah, no, I am looking forward to Museum Deadly Exhibits quite a bit, just based on concept and potential alone. I will probably be walking back here a lot at 1 in the morning to experience this until close. Who knows? Maybe we'll have an experience where, like with Darkest Steel, where it's a 5 minute wait, no one's doing it because they're trying to get in Stranger Things one last time instead of marathoning this all alone. I hope this is great. I'm sure it will be. And my number one is the Sunny Surprise. Look at me. This is who we're talking about here. Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Like, when was this not going to be the number one hyped house? It's not guaranteed. A Universal Monsters house, mind you, it's not guaranteed to be my favorite house at the event because I Unmasked was a little bit lower. But everything else was number one. So I'm always looking forward to this. I love the franchise. I love the property. This feels like it could be like Bride 2, or a lot of people are like, Bride wasn't scary. Bride wasn't the scariest, but this could be like women and scary. Not that they are necessarily, different. Like, of course not. That's stupid. If you're thinking that, you're stupid. But I love. We got Van Helsing's daughter. We got Dracula's daughter. We got the Bride of Frankenstein, and we've got the She-Wolf of London. Which, if you've watched that movie, I don't know how they're interpreting that. And I'm not going to spoil it in case you're going to watch the movie to prep for this, but we'll have the same questions. How they doing it? But yeah, of course, it's Universal Monsters. It's going to be my most anticipated one. This is the one I will do 12 times, and I hope I love it as much. But I'm so excited to see the Bride back. She is the best.
I, for one, am shocked. I'm so shocked that's your number one. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
I'm full of surprises. Hey, listen, I don't think my list has a Deadman's Pier moment, so I think I skipped that. Watch. If that was my number 7, you can kick me off the podcast, but that didn't happen, so I will stay.
Well, this might be a hashtag spoiler, not for the event, but for my list, the rankings. But Adam, we are not identical twins, but we are fraternal twins. My number 2 is Universal Monsters. We're not twins. My number 2 is Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. I am very excited for this house. Again, women's rights, women's wrongs, I'm all about it. I just like, so I am a fake fan when it comes to the Universal Monsters because I have not seen most of the movies, but I love the characters and I love their design and I love their stories. Last year Unmasked was my number 1 house, if I'm remembering correctly. So, I just always think these houses are really well done. Again, the other IPs were lower. This one is the highest. I think that Monsters, because they have a lot more creative freedom, they can do a lot with those houses, and they're almost like originals to me, even though they're IPs. So I think it's going to be really cool. I really hope there's some kind of like Legends Collide / Icons captured moment where somebody wins and it's like something that rotates. So I hope there's like a winner and a clear winner and all that.
I hope we get a classic Monsters House triple scare.
I would love a triple or quadruple. I would love
a
triple
quadruple
scare or a quadruple.
A
How many
quadrilateral?
How many people are in this house?
I think 4.
4.
Is everything all right, Adam? Is your house haunted?
So yeah, for those
Now
watching
I'm
at home, I'm
haunted.
looking around because I hear things around. So okay, how do I start this? There's a leak in my ceiling right now, but it's not dripping. But I'm hearing things that feel like drips, and it's right next to me. And I don't know if it's just general things, just kind of like shifting. I got bags and stuff on here, so like, is it that? Is it my key being weird? Is it the roof? Who knows? So that's why I'm like, what's here? That's why.
Can't go back. I'm haunted.
Come on, don't drip from my ceiling. I thought I had you dried up.
And
I'm
if I'm being
also like
grimacing during the podcast at all, I'm also looking at the water on my roof. I'm not like trying to ignore my co-hosts because they're fantastic and they have great opinions. But I'm like,
no,
what's going to happen in the next 3 hours?
He's
Well-
Adam's ignoring us. Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine.
okay,
I'm
but
kidding.
also like I really hope that we're not gonna have a have you guys ever been on the Twister ride at Universal? I hope we don't have one of those moments. Because you're like, I hear water. I'm like, no, it's got to hold out till somebody comes to repair it.
Happening.
No, it's not. It's not happening. Anyway, that was all I could think of though. When you said you heard water, I was like, oh no. Oh
Better get your
no.
swimming trunks on. You're going for a swim. I've been doing this aggressive Southern accent
I
recently.
call it the finger of God.
Or it'll be like the second water trigger in the Spider-Man ride. It's just always way too much.
Aggressive. Oh my god, the last time I rode that,
Me too. The horror on Adam's face when I said that, because it's so real. If you've ever been on the Spider-Man ride in the last, whenever they changed the sprinklers, it's pretty rough. There's a
it's
lot
not a
of water.
sprinkle anymore. No.
It's a deluge.
No. It is a
It's
bucket.
a bucket.
It is a bucket. A big bucket.
With
Next
lots and lots of room.
Next time I'm looking up and I'm gonna see someone's hands. Just
also
can confirm the floor lights up green when you're going up.
I need to go look and ride it.
It was fun. Anyway, I don't know how much more I can say about Universal Monsters, but it just sounds like such a fun time. I hope there's a winner. I hope it changes. I hope it changes like bi-hourly or whatever it was with icons versus like daily, but I'll take whatever they'll give me. Give me a winner. I love a competition. I don't actually love gambling like with money, but I think it's fun when there's no stakes. Like if I'm just like, I think it's this person and then it's not, it's like, oh well. But I think it's fun to guess things. My number one, this is why I said we're twins, is the Museum Deadly Exhibits. And you'll note, I was worried like that this tour that I did, this was the third one on my Unmasking the Horror tour. I was worried that doing the tour before the event would ruin things for me. And it actually did not in any case. Because it's a good thing that I learned certain things about Slaughter Cinema. But no, overall, like if it's something that you want to do, I personally don't think it is going to spoil how the event is for me at all, even though it did kind of spoil things because it tells you about some of the scares. But this one, again, no spoilers, but like the scares were a lot more like, we don't really know what this is going to look like. This is just what they told us. I don't know what it's going to be like. So there's a lot of things that I don't know what to expect, but some details that I'll be able to look out for early on. And let me tell you, this house is going to be the prettiest house, the most interesting house, maybe the spookiest house. I don't know if it's going to be scarier than like Monstrose or like Insidious, but it's going to be like atmospheric. And I am so excited for that. It's a house that has like a constant theme throughout, and it's just like so cool. And I can't wait to see what they do with it. And I truly think that if this is as good as I'm hoping it is, this one probably has the most room to fall because I'm so excited for it. Like I'm expecting this to be one of my like top 5 or 10 houses of all time, which is high praise. I think this could be a new favorite. I think this is absolutely, now don't you all go telling all your friends and making the lines too long for this one. But I think that this is going to be the what was the name of our favorite one last year? I mean, I know it wasn't my number
Darkest
one, but
Steel.
Darkest Deal. This is going to be this year's Darkest Deal, where people are like, I don't know, and they sleep on it, and then it's in literally, I think it's the same tent. I was in it today, but it's hard to tell. But like I think this is gonna be the one that people are like sleeping on, that has like sometimes shorter waits, especially in the beginning, and they shouldn't be. It's going to be so cool, and like I hope it's as amazing as I hope it is. But honestly, like if I walked through it again and nothing happened and it was just what it looks like on its own, I would still love it. So it's pretty incredible. And I'm super excited for it. And this was this was really only at like my 2 or 3 before I did the tour. So it's not like it jumped up like 8 spots or anything like that. I was pretty excited for it initially, but I'm just even more excited for it now. I really can't wait.
Your
And
Scream
so-
still didn't come out. Sure.
What do you mean?
Oh.
What do you mean my scream didn't come
Oh, I
out?
Did
thought
you
you were
mute?
screaming. I thought you
I
did like.
did.
"Ah!" Yeah,
I
didn't
did.
hear it. Didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it?
It broke the sound barrier, Bella.
There you
There we
go.
Oh.
There we go.
Well, everyone, that's our show. That was
Our-
our hype lists.
Our first HHN episode of the season.
Woo!
True.
We'll probably give like not a literal hype list, or I guess it wouldn't be hype anymore, it'd be a rankings list, but we'll probably give some updates, at least one kind of mid-season on the Patreon, which
Mhm.
we mentioned is patreon.com/theme park workshop. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in that, we'll be doing that. And if you're like, hey, there's a certain thing I really want you guys to talk about this more, and you're a patron, we will.
Ask
do it.
away.
So tell us what you want us to talk about. If you want more Horror Nights, just say that. Please say that. Please
Please.
say that, and then
Please.
listen to it.
Someone say it, please.
Please.
Please, someone say it, please.
Please.
What's that? You want a 6-hour Horror Nights episode? Okay.
We can
What?
provide.
And it's the fact that we could.
I mean, honestly, our 3-parter, it's a 3-parter because it would have been 6.
Literally 3 parts. Did we record it in one go, though? Did
Most
we
I don't
record
think
it in one
so.
go?
We had a scare zone ranking that lasted an hour. We had
We did.
we had a house ranking that was like an hour and a half, maybe 2, and then just a general vibe of the event that was 59 minutes.
So what I'm saying is, if you want us to talk about Horror Nights more, say the word. If you hate Horror Nights and you think it's dumb when we talk about it, please don't tell us. Because we're gonna keep talking about it anyway, and then we'll just be sad.
Quiet.
We are planning to talk about Sir Henry's later this season. Are y'all planning to go to any other haunts this year? I'm undecided about Hallow Scream personally.
I will definitely be at House Scream. I'm gonna try and go to both.
Ooh.
I know that the Vampire House is returning to Bush
Oh,
Tampa,
that's a fun
and my
one.
friends and I are like, we're going,
Mhm.
because I have never experienced
It
one
is
of
an
those
experience.
houses. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. But I also hate Bush Tampa. So, but I'll definitely be. Wait, no, I don't hate Bush. I love Bush. I don't like Hoso Tampa. I don't like their layout. I don't like it.
It's just hosts. Haas?
Host.
Host,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, we're host.
Host.
Orlando is host.
I'm used to Hoso. I'm used to House Scream Orlando, okay?
Yeah,
I
you're
will
right.
be there.
Host.
I'm really debating on getting a pass.
I don't think so. If y'all don't know, you two do. But if the listeners don't know, I'm starting law school like at time of recording, literally tomorrow.
Elwoods.
Elwoods, and it's part-time, but I still I bought an ultimate Halloween Horror Nights pass, so I'm like, if I'm going somewhere, I know Tampa's closer, but I'm just probably gonna make the extra effort to make a day out of Halloween Horror Nights. So I don't think so. I will of course go to Sir Henry's. That's like a no-brainer, but probably not host or host this year, but eventually. Like I love them. So love's a strong word. I like them.
So
They
scared
both
for Sir
have
Henry.
individual vibes that
They do.
I actually I think if you want to if y'all listening want a good budget experience that has its own fun vibe and doesn't feel like a lesser version of like Halloween Horror Nights but just has a homegrown feeling, Hallow Scream Tampa is a great place to go because they've been doing it for so long. They've established their identity. Hoso is great shows.
Hoso is really
Hoso
close to
shows.
Halloween. Hoso
Sorry.
is really close to Halloween Horror Nights. So
Yeah.
You
Can
could
do a
do
double
both.
feature. That's what I
or
did.
do double feature. But yeah, Bella, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Flynn Rider's Nose, on Twitter at Bella Harvey with 2 Y's, and then over on the Twitter also as well again at Workshop TP.
Adam, where can the people find you if you wish to be found?
Yeah, I mean, you could find me. I think I might be the creature of the Black Lagoon, depending on how this leak thing goes. But until then, you can find me at AdamJ_film on Twitter, and you can join the party over at the Patreon again at patreon.com/theme park workshop. I run that little shindig over there. I do also recommend you check out our Halloween Horror Nights episodes from last year. We have a great prepisode that while we do talk specifics of last year, there's some great general advice that you might find valuable if this is your first time. So go check that out.
And you can find me on our Instagram, Theme Park Workshop. You can also find me on our TikTok that's currently a little dead, at Theme Park Workshop. And then you can find me on my personals at kels.hoff. That's Kels with an S on Instagram. And you can find me at killer_Kels on the Twitter. And I think that covers it. But thank you for listening. Also, I didn't say earlier, if you made it this far and you do hate Halloween Horror Nights, thank you for just listening to us talk. We love you.
You're the best.
But we'll see you
We the
later.
best. Like DJ Khaled.
Yeah, I got it.
Guys, I got the zoomies. I got the zoomies.
I got the zoomies too. But we'll see you later. And we'll see you
In the fog. Sorry, I totally stole that from you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.